Well, 2020 gonna 2020, y'all. We got a bunch of sports to get into, but right off the top here, I think it's worth mentioning, and we need to, the president and the first lady, along with Hope Hicks, who is one of his top advisors, have all tested positive for COVID. This happened late last night, and I woke up to the news like many of you are probably waking up to the news. I hope that that all three of them are going to be fine. Obviously, I know the president a little bit just through his visits on our show each of the past couple of months. And most of you enjoyed that conversation. I appreciate him coming on. I know Hope Hicks because she is involved in helping to schedule everything that the president does. So she was instrumental in helping to put him on the show. So right off the top here, I just want all of them to be able to recover. I want to wish them the best. And regardless of politics, Democrat, Republican, Independent, I want everybody to be safe who is potentially dealing with COVID-related issues across the country. Within that context, I would also say that some people are going to test positive, as we've seen with the Titans, as we've seen with a lot of NFL coaches, as we've seen with some college coaches, such as Mike Norvell at Florida State. And the vast, vast majority of everyone who tests positive is going to be fine, which is why I still think, even though there will be absolute take quakes with everybody reacting to the president's news from late last night all throughout the day and all throughout the weekend and beyond, I still believe it's important that kids should be in school, that people should be back at work, and that all of our sports should be playing. This doesn't change any of the data or analysis that I've been trying to give you guys as it pertains to the return of school and sports, whether it's the Big Ten, whether it's the SEC, whether it's what's going to be going on with my family this weekend. I've got flag football for the fourth grader that'll be being played games, and my kindergartner is going to be playing soccer. And as soon as I finish this show this morning, I'm going to walk my kids to in-person school. But I want to wish the best to the White House, anybody else who might test positive related to COVID in the White House as well. I hope all of you get healthy. I hope you don't have major complications from this. And I hope that everybody is back to 100% sooner rather than later. Okay, that's a major story that is hanging out there. Pivoting to much less serious stories in general, which is always the case when you talk about sports, we had a whale of an evening in the world of sports. First of all, Sam Darnold and Adam Gase are both now potentially on the chopping block over what happened on Thursday Night Football. Congratulations to the Broncos getting their first win of the season, but the Jets were so bad and so inept that there now has to be a legitimate question about whether or not the Jets could be entering the Trevor Lawrence sweepstake, and if that is going to occur, whether it might be the end of Sam Darnold's tenure in New York. I don't know how, if you go as bad as it appears the Jets are going to go, and they may start 0-8, they may start 0-9, they may finish 3-13, 2-14, whatever the number is, and you are in a position to draft Trevor Lawrence, I don't know how you feel comfortable enough with what you've seen from Sam Darnold, at least so far, to say, no, we don't need to make that move. We're going to pass on Trevor Lawrence because we have the quarterback of our franchise already here, and we feel very good about him. I also think that Adam Gase is as close to being fired as you can possibly get to being fired, and that's unfortunate because there was such excitement when he came to the Jets and also just such excitement about Sam Darnold in general, and it hasn't panned out, at least so far. But Broncos get a nice win given all their injuries that they are dealing with. Credit to Vic Fangio's crew for getting that done. 2020 is wild, part 2. How about the Braves and the A's both winning postseason series on the same day? I don't think anybody would have foreseen that taking place at any point in the recent history. And we also got some interesting games still in baseball coming up as we roll forward. We have got the Marlins and the Cubs game 2. The Marlins with a chance to close the Cubs out in both game 2 and potentially, if necessary, game 3. And it was a whale of a game. I don't know how many of you were flipping back and forth during the NFL game last night, but Fernando Tatis Jr. took over for the Padres to stave off elimination against the Cardinals, and there will be a do-or-die game for St. Louis and San Diego. taking place later today. Also, a couple of other news stories that are out there as we try to put the entirety of the sports landscape in perspective for you. We also have Game 2 of the NBA Finals. Now, the NBA Finals is being viewed by fewer fans than any NBA Finals in almost all of our lives. It's the lowest rated finals on record. It was down 45%, which is unheard of, from last year's finals, which featured a team from Canada and was really badly rated. It was down nearly 60% from the last time that LeBron James himself was in the finals, which was 2 years ago. This is an unmitigated disaster for the NBA. Building on top of that, also, and I'm curious to see how much attention this gets. It should be a massive story for other sports media, but Outkick may be the only place that is actually covering this. Rudy Gobert has become the first NBA player to come out and criticize China for its concentration camps. You remember what a big story it turned into when Daryl Morey tweeted support for Hong Kong democracy. Well, now Rudy Gobert has come out publicly, becoming the first NBA player to oppose the Uyghur concentration camps that exist for Muslim religious faith members of that ethnic minority in China. So Rudy Gobert speaks out. Will other NBA players, executives, or teams follow his lead, or will they continue to be complete hypocrites on all issues surrounding human rights law around the world and social justice? That is worth paying attention to as we move forward throughout Friday and get ready for Game 2 of the NBA Finals. Will anybody else join Rudy Gobert in speaking out against China? And if so, what will the fallout be for the NBA? Props to Rudy Gobert for recognizing the hypocrisy and speaking out aggressively against American institutions while continuing to take Chinese money and not saying a word about things that you might disagree with in China. So all of that coming together, we got a wild weekend coming up in college football and the NFL. We're going to be breaking it down with you throughout the entirety of the show. About to be joined in the next segment by my buddy Lance Taylor from 94.5 Jocks down in Birmingham.